Hey guys, it's Jesse Charger here, and in this video I want to share with you a really important topic because so many guys are caught up in this. It's pornography and how it really just not only saps your sex drive, but actually saps your motivation and your drive to go out and meet women in general, independent of your sex drive. Now, most guys are watching porn and it's really going to hold them back in their lives. The reason is, well, two reasons that I want to go into. Number one is something called hedonic adaptation. Now, hedonic adaptation is basically where your brain grows accustomed to a new titillating stimulation, and eventually that titillating stimulation has less and less effect, so that it doesn't really have as much punch as it used to the first or second or third time. An example of this is back in the early 1900s. If a man saw a woman's ankles, he'd get blown away. He was really turned on. To see a woman's ankles was very titillating because women wore long dresses that covered up their legs, covered up their feet, covered up their ankles. And a woman would, basically lift up her dress like this to show an ankle, and that was amazing. Well, now you see ankles and legs on television. You see women's ankles and legs out on the street, so it has no titillating effect on you anymore. Instead, what you see in today's society are breasts. Breasts are that titillating thing. But if you go down to a nude beach down in South Florida, for example, and you see a bunch of naked breasts, at first you're like, whoa, this is amazing. Your brain is getting like overload, stimulation. I never saw so many just breasts before. But after actually just a couple of hours, your brain adapts. It's not as stimulating or titillating, and after a few days of going to the same beach, it's just going to seem normal. Breasts are normal. So your brain adapts. Hedonic adaptation. Now, bringing this into porn, for example, let's say you discover your perfect 10 in porn. You discovered the perfect girl, and you think, wow, this girl is so amazing, so awesome. I could just jerk it to this one girl for the next year. I don't even have to go look for other porn. But what happens after a couple of days of, getting off to the same girl, even though she was your perfect 10, let's say she was a tall blonde, now you're like, I need to see some Hispanic girls. I need to see some black girls. So you actually, after a couple of days, you get bored of the same porn star, even if she was amazing. That's hedonic adaptation. Or let's say you develop, you collect this big ultimate porn collection, the best porn that you've ever discovered, and you just collect it. What happens? You never really go back and watch that collection. You never go back into archives or anything. You're always looking for new stimulation, because no matter how good the porn was, your brain adapts quickly to that titillating experience, and you need something new. You need something more. So what happens is, when your brain is accustomed to constantly getting new girls, new stimulation from pornography, when you go out and you see real girls out on the street or a club or bar or wherever it is, the girls are not as titillating. They're not really sexy. They're not what you would really want them to be. And only like the super fine 10s can even get you motivated or inspired. So what happens is your brain adapts to these hypersexual girls, and then when you see real women in real life, you're just not that motivated. So what happens is you go out, you see normal girls, you don't feel that motivated. You're like, yeah, I should go talk to her. I should go talk to that one. I should do this. I should do that. But you end up, you don't really have that drive to force you to go do it, because your brain is not getting stimulated by regular girls. So you think, I'm just going to go back home and watch some porn, get that stimulation. So that's one way that it saps your drive. Another way that porn really can sap your drive is, I'm going to use an analogy with chocolate cake. Grandma's chocolate cake. So grandma makes chocolate cake for you every week. It's delicious chocolate cake. It's grandma's chocolate cake, right? So every week, you put on some nice clothes, you get into your car, you drive over to grandma's house, you say hello to grandma, you talk to grandma, she pulls out the chocolate cake, you take the fork, you put the fork into the cake, you put it up to your mouth, and grandma's chocolate cake, delicious. Now, your buddy, he says, look, I've got this awesome machine. You can have all the chocolate cake, you can have all the desserts, in fact, you want. You just hook up this machine, these two wires to your brain, and it will give you the stimulation of eating desserts. So you can press a button and you're getting chocolate cake stimulated to your brain. It feels like you're really experiencing chocolate cake, but directly to the pleasure center of your brain. And then you hit another button, and now you can get pumpkin pie. And you hit another button, and 30 seconds later you can get ice cream. And you hit another button, in 30 seconds you can feel like you're getting chocolate chip cookies, the most mouth-savoring, delicious chocolate chip cookies you've ever eaten. And you just do that for 2 weeks. And what's great about this machine is that you don't have to even expend any time or effort to get the pleasure. You don't even have to put your fork down up to your mouth and chew. You don't even have to expend the calories to do that. You don't have to go drive to the store, expend gas, pay money for gas, just try to decide what you want. You get it all instantly from this machine. So what happens? 2 weeks of doing that. Grandma calls you up. Hey, Sonny, come on over and eat some chocolate cake with me. All right, so you think, I should spend some time with Grandma. I should eat some real chocolate cake. I should go over there and, do my obligation or whatever. But you got to get dressed. You got to get inside the car. You got to maybe buy some gasoline. You got to go over to Grandma. You got to say hello. It's a big production. And, you just don't feel that motivated to do it. It just starts to feel like a hassle, especially since you have this machine and you can get the stimulation right to your brain instantaneously. And it's even better than Grandma's chocolate cake because, in this machine, they had some scientists design what was the perfect tasting chocolate cake for you. So, you just don't feel like going to see Grandma. You start doing it out of obligation. It's not fun anymore because the simulation is more fun. It's more stimulating. It's more titillating. So it's the same exact same thing with girls and porn. Basically, you jerk off to some porn and then you just don't feel the motivation that you should go out. You feel like, yeah, I should go out. I should do this. I should do that. But I can just get pleasure and stimulation from watching pornography. And even if you do go out and you overcome that, then because you have hedonic adaptation, you're seeing real girls around you, they're not stimulating you in the same way because you've been seeing tons of naked bodies, tons of naked girls. You can control the fantasies exactly how you want. So when you see the girl in the club, it's just not as stimulating as it should be. Now, here's the trap of porn. In the very short term, porn is awesome because if let's say an asteroid is going to hit the Earth and you have 30 minutes to live, are you going to be like, oh, I got to meet some real girls? You only have 30 minutes. You're not going to get laid in 30 minutes. If your outlook is 30 minutes from now, porn is great because you can get a lot of pleasure, a lot of stimulation from porn. You can expend like 0 time and effort to get that pleasure and stimulation. The problem is that we tend to think very short term. We want the short term payoff, so we'll just go to porn. But the problem is on the long term, like let's say a 3-year time scale. Take one guy that's doing porn, another guy that avoids porn and doesn't get into that bad habit. The guy who just skips out on porn, maybe 3 years from now, he can have 2 or 3 girlfriends. He could have gotten laid like 20 or 30 times. He can be socially sharp from going out because he's been around girls. He feels that pressure on himself to go to the gym, look nice, be healthy, eat correctly, have good habits. Whereas the guy that just kind of gives into the easy temptation of porn, gives into the quick stimulation that porn gives with no effort, he doesn't feel that pressure to look good. He doesn't feel that pressure to eat healthy or go to the gym. He doesn't feel that pressure to be social and be socially sharp. He's not going to have any girls around him. He's not going to have 2 or 3 girlfriends. He's not going to be getting laid. So 3 years from now, Even though there was a short-term payoff to watching porn, which kind of traps you into wanting to do it, over the long term, it's a very negative habit. It's really going to hold you back. Now you might be asking, Jesse, okay, what about a cheat day? Can I have a cheat day where once a week I watch porn? You know, I don't do it very often, but I want to watch a little porn here and there. The problem with that is, number one, you'll watch porn once, and then it can be very easy to backslide into that habit of watching it day after day or 2 or 3 days in a row. Whereas, you know, you get the stimulation one day, and then the next day you're like, I kind of want to see that other girl I didn't quite finish off to, so the second day you go back to it. So it's very easy to kind of backslide into it if you have cheat days. Another issue with cheat days is if you want to be, for example, a great runner, you want to do marathons and you want to really excel at your hobby, you can have a cheat day eating all you can eat at McDonald's every Saturday, but it's not going to make you the best runner. Doing that cheat day is really going to impinge on your results. So if you want to be the best that you can be, the best man you can be, if you want to get the best results out of your hobby, out of your passion, which maybe is women, you don't want to have that cheat day of doing porn. You want to align all of your habits to be good habits to give you the best results that you can get. You don't want to be cheating with bad habits. You don't want to be in the mindset too that, you know, pornography is a kind of like a reward at the end of the week where you didn't watch porn, so porn is like this positive reward that you get. You know, you want to see it more like eating junk food or smoking or something like that, where you just want to avoid it completely. There's really no reason to do a cheat day. And besides just that issue of backsliding. Another thing to consider a little bit deeper is why not to watch porn is simply because it's basically a maladaptive trait where your brain tends to get tricked into thinking that porn is like fucking a real girl when it's not, and you're wasting your time on a simulation fantasy that's not going to help you reproduce. So basically you're going to have two groups of guys in society, guys that get sucked into porn because it's tricking their brain. They're basically caveman brain that they can't tell the difference between the fantasy and going after girls in real life. They think it's all great, both. Versus guys that for whatever reasons their genes say, I'm going to skip the porn, I'm going to go after real girls. Those are the guys that are going to be genetically successful. They're going to have more sex. They're going to have more children. They're going to have more choice of women. They're going to have, you know, more fit offspring to propagate their genes into future generations. And the guys that get all hung up on porn or spend a good deal of their days in front of porn are eventually going to get weeded out. So it's really almost like a life and death struggle of your genes. Are you able to adapt to the post-1995 universe or the world where porn is basically ubiquitous? Can you still, you know, get the hot girls in that kind of situation, or is this new technology going to suck you into the abyss of not being able to procreate because, you know, you could not adapt to the new environment? And as you know, species go extinct, or, you know, certain traits in a species go extinct when the environment changes and that species or group within the species just can't adapt to the new situation. So you want to be one of those guys that is adapting to modern society, can still, you know, procreate, be successful genetically, evolutionarily, in evolution, instead of being one of those guys that basically your lineage is going to be snuffed out. So that wraps up this topic video for now. There are two things you can do, however. One is to leave a comment right below the video. I read all the comments. I'm interested in what you have to say. And I reply to a good number of the comments when I get the chance. And number two is to subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's a link on the screen here. If you like this video, you can get all my videos by subscribing through YouTube. And the videos will be sent to you automatically. So do those two things. Number one, leave a comment. Number two, subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I will be seeing you soon. Jesse out.